Howdy, my name is Michael Pack, and I'm from Idaho Falls, Idaho, and also Lubbock, Texas, as you know. It's been such a pleasure to be a part of the youth development programming class and to learn about different methodologies and tools that I can apply in the future in various administrative activities or also camps or even just being a dad. So I'm super excited for that, and I'm excited for this presentation. Today, I'm talking about my book review of 7 Habits for Highly Effective Teens by Sean Covey. This book takes the 7 habits that are applied in 7 Habits for Highly Effective People by Sean's father, Stephen R. Covey, and caters them specifically to the needs of teenagers and adolescents. Now, this book is written directly to teens, speaking directly to them, but the principles taught, I think, are very applicable and useful for youth development administrators and programmers, and being able to apply these things and help youth to not only survive, but thrive. Now, these 7 habits build upon each other, as you can see in this chart with the tree. Starting with the first 3 habits, they build upon each other in what's called the private victory. So these first 3 habits: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and put first things first, really focus on developing the self, the individual youth, helping them to take responsibility for themselves, become basically able to form self-mastery and those things that they need to set goals and make plans for the future, to know who they are, and then define their own personal mission. And then finally, to put first things first, or to prioritize those things that are most important to them in life. The next 3 habits afterward build upon those 3 first habits into what's called the public victory. And this means you're able to expand those habits that are formed into forming strong relationships and making valuable connections with other people. And so these include think win-win. So there's the idea of having an everyone can win attitude, which I think is super valuable these days, especially where there's so much competition, comparison, which we all know that can be damaging in a lot of ways, especially for, when parents start encouraging their youth to win, or they attach value to their youth just because they're winning. That's not where we should be teaching our youth that value is coming from. The next one, seeking first to understand, then to be understood. This really involves listening to people sincerely and creating those strong bonds and relationships. And then the last habit, synergize, habit 6, is to work together, use or build upon each other's strengths to create something that's so much greater than you could have done alone. There's the quote, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And I think this is really what this chapter is all about. Synergy is creating something so much greater and just amazing, and when you're all working together and doing it together, and helping youth to be able to form this habit can be really critical in helping them succeed as an adult in the future. And then finally, habit 7 is like the sun to this tree. It renews them, it strengthens the youth, it helps them to overcome challenges when they need to in the future. Basically what this is it's saying that youth need to continue their self-development physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. If they don't continually sharpen their saw, in a sense, if they don't sharpen up these skills and these aspects of their lives, it's going to be difficult for them to find success and happiness in other aspects. And so these 7 habits that build upon each other, they really do have such an impact on these youth, and being able to make these simply just strong changes, changing their own paradigms, both of themselves and also of the world. And it's definitely changed my own paradigm as I've gone through and read this book and applied it to my own life. I've loved the concepts and I'm super thankful for it. Some strengths of the book specifically is that it's speaking directly to teens. And of course, in that sense, it's also speaking to youth program administrators that can apply these tools to help teens overcome challenges and to thrive. It also carries actionable frameworks and tools that we can help youth, use to help youth. And then it's understandable for just about anyone. Some weaknesses is that it carries a limited perspective, primarily from Sean Covey. While it does carry strong sources and a strong bibliography at the back, largely it does come from his viewpoint. And so it may not necessarily apply to every situation or context, or there might be other ways that could impact positive youth development that might work better for different youth. And then finally, being able to apply these concepts to future work. I want to go into youth development camps. And so I feel like a lot of these tools, being able to build strong relationships, listening to other people, me as an administrator, being able to listen to the youth and their needs before coming to conclusions about what the problem is, that's going to be super, super helpful in solving challenges and problems. In addition, it'll help the specific needs of youth in forming self-mastery and being courageous, in forming strong relationships, learning to help others. And then finally, I mentioned this in my paper also, but I believe that the 5 C's and also the sixth C that we talked about in class can come as youth apply these 7 habits to their own lives. Now, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And Gigam, it's been a great time in class.